All right, let's talk about something that will absolutely level up your Python skills, especially when it comes to data analysis. We're diving into functions, which I really think of as your own personal programming superpower.
So let me ask you a question, and be honest. Do you ever find yourself writing the exact same chunk of code again and again? You copy it, you paste it, maybe you change one tiny little thing. It's tedious, right? And, it's the perfect way to accidentally introduce a bug. Well, there is a much, much better way.
And that better way is called a function. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. You figure out the steps for a specific task. I don't know, maybe cleaning up a column of data or calculating a specific metric. You write that recipe down once, and then anytime you need to do that exact task, you just call your recipe by its name. That's it. No more endless copying and pasting. Now, this whole idea of reusable code is exactly why functions are so essential. It's a game changer. It takes your code from being this long, kind of confusing scroll of commands and turns it into a clean, organized, and way more powerful program. So let's quickly break down these benefits. First, modularity. This means you can take a huge, scary problem and just break it down into smaller, manageable chunks. So much easier to solve. Then there's reusability. That's the right once, use forever magic we just talked about. Maintainability is a total lifesaver. If you find a mistake, you fix it in one place, inside the function, not in 20 different places throughout your script. And finally, abstraction. This just means you can use your function without having to remember every single detail of how it works inside. You just need to know what it does. Okay, so this all sounds pretty great, right? But how do we actually build one of these things in Python? What does that basic blueprint look like? Well, it's actually way simpler than you might think. It all starts with one little three-letter keyword, def. This is you telling Python, hey, pay attention, I am about to define a new recipe. You follow that up with a name for your function and then a set of parentheses. And those parentheses are key because that's where we're gonna put our inputs. Let's just walk through this simple example. So you can see we start with def. Next up is the function's name, greet. And inside the parentheses, we've got the word name. That's a placeholder for whatever input we give it. We call that a parameter. That bit in the triple quotes, that's a docstring. It's basically an optional note to yourself or other programmers explaining what the function is for. And finally, you see that indented code below? That's the function body. Those are the actual instructions, the steps in our recipe. Now, a function isn't just this isolated little block of code. To be useful, it needs a way to get information in, those are the inputs, and a way to send a result back out. Those are the outputs. Okay, this next part is super important because it trips a lot of people up at first. What's the difference between a parameter and an argument? Well, the parameter is the placeholder variable in the function's definition. Think of it like a named parking spot. The argument is the actual value you give the function when you use it. It's the car you actually park in that spot. So name is the parameter, the parking spot, and Alice is the argument, the car. What's really cool is that you can make your functions more flexible by giving them default values. Look at this describe_pet function. We've set pet name to equal Rex. So what does that mean? It means if you call the function and don't provide a pet name, Python will just go ahead and assume the name is Rex. It's a great little fallback that makes your code more robust. So we've talked about how to get data into a function. How do you get an answer out? Well, for that, we use the return keyword. As soon as Python hits a return statement, it stops running the function and sends back whatever value you told it to. That could be a number, a string of text, a list, pretty much anything. Let's make this crystal clear. Say we have a function called add numbers. You give it two arguments, the numbers 5 and 3. The function's body does the work. It adds them together. And then that return statement hands the results, the number 8, right back to you. Input, process, output. Simple as that. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. We've gone over the theory, which is great, but let's see how this stuff becomes an absolute necessity for real-world data analysis. So picture this. You've got a list of numbers, maybe it's daily sales or temperature readings, doesn't matter. And a super common task is to calculate the average. Now, you could write the code to sum them up and divide by the count, but what happens when your boss gives you 10 more lists to find the average of? You can see how that's going to get really messy and really repetitive really fast. And the solution, of course, is to build a function. We create just one single reusable function, let's call it calculate average. It takes any list of numbers you throw at it, does the calculation, and returns the result. So now it doesn't matter if you have one list or 100 lists. Calculating the average is just one simple, clean, easy-to-read line of code every single time. And the benefits for your actual analysis work are huge. You get consistency because the math is defined in one spot, so you know it's being done the same way every time. You get efficiency, which saves you an incredible amount of time and effort. And maybe most importantly, you get reduced errors. Once you've tested that function and you know it's solid, you can trust it to give you the right answer every single time. So as we start to wrap this up, I really want you to hang on to that idea of functions being your programming superpower. They really are the key to writing code that's not just functional, but also clean, efficient, and honestly, a lot more professional. This quote here really just nails it. Learning how to use functions properly isn't just about memorizing syntax. It's about fundamentally changing how you think about and solve problems with code. It's what lets you build complex, sophisticated analyses that are actually easy to manage, easy to debug, and easy to build on later. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Take a look at some code you're working on right now, or maybe something you worked on last week. Find that one task, that one block of code you keep copying and pasting. What is it? Because that is the perfect candidate to become your first superpower, your very own function.